Hello, team. Welcome back to Quick Resume, episode 49. If you haven't been here before, my name is Deck. That's Steve over there.
Hello.
We've been gaming together for years, and so we're so happy that you've been able to join us today. We're generally an Xbox-centric podcast. We cover wider gaming news as well, and today there's lots to talk about. There's lots of Halo information. We're a bit behind on PS Plus, but you know, in case you want another, you want two other podcasters talking about it, we're going to touch on it as well. Unreal Engine 5 has been shown off in a multitude of ways, that and quite a lot more to go over today. So I'm going to pass it over to Tim and just do a little check-in and see how you've been. How have you been?
Yeah, hey man. Yeah, I've been alright. I have to admit, I've been better. I've been a little bit under the weather, as per usual. I mean, we missed last week because we had a busy weekend, all meeting up and stuff like that. So we had to sort of cancel the podcast. And on the eve of us all meeting up and me being there as well, I literally came down with like an awful stomach bug that's been going around. Literally on the evening, it was insane, man. Bag packed, zipped up, ready to go, train tickets in my wallet, everything, and just on the evening, just bleh, just fucking. It's such a joke, man. It's unreal.
It's crazy. Everyone I know has been sick. Is either sick now or has been sick in the last 4 weeks. It's so weird.
It's crazy. There's just so much shit going around. It's nuts. And yeah, obviously I had to bail because it was a 3-hour train ride and then a 3+ hour car ride too. And
Yeah.
I can't be doing that when my stomach's fucking going crazy. So
no, we didn't want to sit in your vomit for 4 hours even actually. So
exactly, or just like pull over like all the time on like the hard shoulder and just. All right, good to go. Let's go,
probably
boys.
for the best.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer. And then it's weird because it's been coming and going as well. Like I'd say I've only been fully over it for like about 4 days now. Like it's genuinely been with me for ages. So I haven't been doing much, to be honest. Just sort of gaming and chilling, and yeah, pretty standard, to be honest. Gaming wise, we've been doing Wonderlands. We sunk our teeth into that a little bit more. We actually experienced some of the end game stuff, which I guess we'll talk about.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with the meatiness of the end game. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's actually quite well done. Better than BL3 did it, for sure. Because I didn't have a problem with how BL3 did it. I just think they didn't. I don't know. I think they just got like stuck in the times and just like got caught in like a trend, and they were just like, oh, we should do like strikes and stuff like that, and sort of like thing. It just didn't really work out for them.
Yeah,
I don't think.
It's a lot more deliberate here, I think, in Wonderlands, which is really helping it. Like, they had a vision rather than just being like, there's stuff you can do at the end and we'll add to it, like just random stuff that will have drops. In this, they're like, this is an activity and, there's going to be different variations and this is the loot you're going to get and this is how we're going to improve upon the Borderlands, the typical Borderlands endgame experience. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy if they carried over that formula into the next mainline game. And just having this sort of like RNG sort of roguelite sort of experience, random bosses or like bosses depending on how you do like the Easter eggs and the little hidden secrets throughout the thing.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff is, I'd be very happy if they carried that over. So yeah, that's pretty good. Played a bit of Apex. I cracked. I got the crypto heirloom. I spent about £80.
Oh no!
But it's fucking cool, man. It's really cool.
But it's cool. That's
all
that counts.
I've been playing them all weekend, and it's great. I've been having a lot of fun.
Good for you, dude.
But yeah, it's a lot of money. I knew I'd crack eventually, but it is one of the coolest items in the game. I think, like, some of the animations on it are so sick. Like, it's crazy. I think a lot of work went into this one, considering the last couple have been a bit underwhelming, like with Ramparts and
Oh yeah,
who
front pass did suck.
who else was it? I swear there was another one as
Oh,
well.
Watson just had one, didn't you?
Yeah, Watson's was really underwhelming. I remember the
Weird
community
little
not
gun.
not really liking Watson's at all.
Yeah.
So I think they put a lot of effort into this one to make it like cool and like sleek and stuff like that, and it's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
Um,
When I saw you playing Apex, like because you were on a bit of a binge yesterday, I was like, "Oh, that man's caved." Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
he's justifying the purchase.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, yeah. But no, it's good. It's good fun.
Cool, cool,
And
cool.
it's pretty fucking cool. And then what else have I been playing? There was something else as well. I could have sworn. Oh, just Elden Ring, right? I've
Yeah,
I've been hopping on and doing some Elden Ring. Still making my way through. Just ticking off all the boxes in Caelid before I finish off that little guy on a horse. Who well, big guy on a
little.
horse,
Yeah,
really big guy on a little horse.
yeah, that's right.
Other way around. Yeah, so I've given him a few goes. And he kind of handed me my own ass, but I don't feel like he's too difficult.
Are you spamming the summons on the way up? You don't know the
What?
summons on the way up.
What?
there's like loads of summons as you go up.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
not. Maybe like NPC ones. Like it's meant to be a summon fight. Like all like loads of the NPCs you've met so far in the story, like the ones that are in the courtyard. They
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all fight. So just
Oh,
spam them as you
okay.
run up. It's still a hard fight, but
Mm.
yeah, I think you're meant to summon for Radahn.
Oh, really? Because I actually got
Yeah,
really close a few times without even knowing there were any summons.
that's
Dude,
pretty good. Yeah,
I'm cracked at this game.
he got buffed recently though. Radahn just got buffed, so
For
sorry.
fuck's sake. Well, is it like literally in the last like 2-3 days or something? I haven't
I
fought
think,
him for a couple of days.
or maybe it was like last week. I can't remember.
Okay, so I probably was already fighting buffed Redan.
Yeah, you might have been.
Um, but yeah, no, it's quite a cool fight. I'm not a huge fan of like the whole like the fights done on a horse sort of thing. Like I like horse combat, sure, but like
It's a bit wonky.
it's just a bit wonky. There's no like iframes like you do with a roll, like a well timed roll. You literally just like speed up a bit, and if you don't time it properly, you still just get hit all the time. There's no like, it's just I don't know. It's just
There's
not quite
like
the same.
there are like a handful of things in that game that like are really triggering, but thankfully the game doesn't like you don't get put in situations that often where that sort of thing happens. Like for example, the other day I was trying to climb. There's the divine towers you go up to get the great runes. There's like one in each area.
Yeah,
The one I was trying to get to the one for Caelid. I don't know if you've seen it, but you have to like climb around the scaffolding on the outside. And on my first playthrough, I did that. You like go up the scaffolding, then you go inside, and it's like a whole thing.
yeah,
But I was like trying to do it this time. I was like, I'll just quickly speed run it, and because I was trying to be quick, whatever. I was making mistakes, so I fell off like to my death, like once.
yeah,
But if you try, so you've got your double jump on Torrent, which is like great. That works fine. It's reasonably responsive. The jump is more responsive than like just walking normally. I find myself jumping to like steer myself in the right direction quite often.
yeah.
But if you try to walk off the edge and then like double jump back in on yourself,
Okay.
do you know what I mean? So you're on
Yeah,
Torrent and you just like trot off the cliff and then try and use the air jump to come back inwards.
yeah,
It doesn't let you do that. You have to
yeah,
jump to then double jump. And I would like countless times my gamer brain just kicked in and I just like walked off to try and do that and I just fell to my death and lost like 200k souls. I'm like, oh, I have to
yeah.
do all of this again. I'm like, why can't I just do that? Like,
It doesn't make sense, does it? Because it's kind of like the same principle. Like if I was like a hunter in Destiny, and if I just like walked off a ledge and then I just wasn't able to do my triple jump, it's like that would break my brain. Like
yeah,
you
it's
can
just
do
weird.
that. Like it's just so weird that that's not a thing. But I do know what you mean, and I've made that mistake with Torrent before as well, where I
Oh,
like clicked the button. I was like, why didn't the second one happen? I was like,
yeah.
now I'm dead. Like
Yeah, now
what's going
that's
on
it.
there?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm going for my 100% run though. It's going pretty well.
Oh yeah. What do you mean you're? Oh, what is it like? You're going for a full Chivos? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
I've got like 48 out of 52, and one of them is get all achievements. So I've got 3 left basically.
saying? Are you looking them up though, or are you?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
them just say secret. Yeah, you are looking them up.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I'm looking.
cool.
Yeah, I'd be going for years if I didn't look it up. So
Yeah.
I'm just like beelining to bosses and beelining to stuff and like secret bosses. And there was a secret boss I did yesterday, which I won't spoil, but wow, like I can't believe it. And I was even I even went for like this other boss that I guess I'd missed, and it's an area that I had been in. Have you been to
Mm.
Lendale yet? Have you been like inside
Uh,
Lendale yet?
is
It's
that the
like
Golden City thing?
it's the city inside the Altus Plateau. Yeah,
No, I don't
it's
think
like
I've done that yet.
okay. Well, there's that place is big, so have fun with that. But there's another area inside that area which I didn't. I like knew it was
Fantastic.
a small area. I didn't realize it was like a fully fleshed out area, so I had to go through like all of that, and I was like, "Oh, what is this doing here? Like, what are you doing?" Yeah, so there was like a boss there, and then there was a boss like near the end of the game, which I did, and it was like probably one of the harder bosses I fought. Very
Okay.
cool, really cool set piece. Yeah, just crazy. But yeah, so yeah, that's going well. Other than that, I'm like at the end of the second playthrough, so I'll have to get all of the. I've got like one more legendary talisman to get. I've got to get this ending, and then I've got to do one more run through on a particular different ending, and then I'll be done. So yeah,
Nice, man.
just
I wish you
I'm just
luck.
doing that when like between games or whatever.
Is it a multiple playthrough sort of gig to get full achievements, or could you do it all in one playthrough?
Yeah, it's multiple playthroughs
Is
because
it
there's
is there
three.
new game plus things?
As in, is there new things in New Game Plus?
Yeah, I guess so. And like, are there achievements specific to like do this in New Game Plus? You know,
Oh
like
no, no, it's just different endings. You have
okay,
to get. It wants you to get three different endings.
so you have to do it 3 times
One
in
of them I
total.
happened to do on my first one. Yeah.
Okay,
But there are like 7 different endings, but the 4 of them fall under the normal Elden Lord achievement. So,
okay,
but then there's 2 very different ones, which are their own achievements. So
mm,
yeah, so
cool,
that's the mate. That's going to be the real time consuming thing. But yeah,
nice, man. Yeah, I wish you luck.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's ticking on. But I mean, I suppose it may be. I mean, was there anything else we wanted to touch on about like Wonderlands or anything else we've been playing before we sort of move on? Or
I mean, I guess we could just. I don't know. How did you? I mean, we touched on the fact that we quite like the end game, but I mean, how do you feel about it? I guess you like it just as much as me, don't you? You were quite happy with it.
yeah, yeah, I was. Yeah, and I am really fond of it. I think I think the more that you play, the more the sort of classes and the multi-classing kind of comes into its own.
Yeah,
At least
for
it has been
sure.
for what I've chosen, like with the spell shot and like the dual wielding spells. That's just been so much fun.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think the main campaign was a bit shorter than I thought it would be, and I think if you beelined it, you could probably finish it in like 5 hours, maybe even
Yeah,
less.
I
There's
was
quite a lot of side
expecting
content.
I was expecting some kind of like twist where we were near the end of the game. I was like, this seems a bit short, but then it just ended, and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
over now, I guess. And there was no real effort to like tie it into the wider universe, which I thought was a bit weird. I thought they would like leave us with something, but it
yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, I
Um,
was expecting something like when it went back to like Tina and them playing over the board. I was expecting some sort of dialogue or like where they were or all that sort of thing, or like, oh, we should get back to Planet Z now. You know,
yeah,
like teasing into the next game. But they were literally just like, let's play again. I was like, okay,
yeah.
great, but it's nothing
So
happened.
yeah. Overall, the story like never kind of like went anywhere, but it was funny. It did what it did for a Borderlands story. I think it did what it had to do. It was
Yeah,
funny, and the writing wasn't obnoxious. Overall, I did quite like the overworld. Like having now looked back at it, like I still want to like go around and do like more of the side quests, but I think it's a nice way to like break up the combat. Um, you know, in the sense that you go there and there's like a little bit of exploration because I don't really know. I don't know if this is controversial, but I don't care about vehicles in Borderlands. Like they always like try to
no,
make it their thing to be like, oh look, we can do like open world and you have like vehicles. I'm like, this isn't fun. I just want to shoot
Yeah,
stuff. Like it doesn't complement the core gameplay at all. I just I just splatter everything immediately. It's like this doesn't do anything. So I don't know if they ever do go fully open world instead of this weird, like large chunk thing that they've been doing for a long time now. I think they need to think about how they're going to do like traversal, because I assume they're not going to do another overworld sort of thing. Because I think that would work quite well if they were doing I could just do that, move like quickly through the world, with a bit of exploration, and go into these small like contained fights for like side quests or like the out camps or whatever, without
yeah,
having to like engage with a vehicle, because I just don't like, I don't know, the vehicles never, I mean they're fine, it's just like I'd rather not.
yeah.
Like
They're just boring. Yeah, everything is kind of a bit spongy. They don't go into any like skills or have anything that extravagant about them. There's just like guns on them. That's kind of it.
and
And
they never
they don't
control that well.
exactly, yeah, they don't exactly drive well either. It's like you don't even, it's not even like the triggers to go and stop. It's like you just hold up on the analog stick. It's like it's not really that
Yeah,
it's not really that fun, let's be
I know
honest.
it's not. There was like one cool design in 3 I remember, which was like the wheel, and you could get some like upgrades, can you, and unlocks, which I guess was kind of cool,
Oh yeah, that
still
was okay. Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
like it was not. It never like went into the loot system. Like you couldn't get different like like loot for the vehicles. That might help maybe, but
Yeah.
like they just never control well, and I just never want to be in one. Like I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah.
like it's like I want to jump out and shoot stuff. So yeah, whatever. So yeah, overall it is good. Now that some of the technical issues have cleared up, I would say I've had a good time with it. I think there's a good bit of experimentation there, and I think Borderlands is going to be one of those games where we get every entry.
Oh
And
yeah.
based on its
Yeah.
ability to keep pulling us back in with like DLC or whatever, like maybe we play it for extended time or maybe we don't, but it's just gonna be one of those. But it's really good. It is really good. I think it does a lot of things better than 3. Yeah, and I kind of want to keep playing it and keep fiddling around with the end game, because there's quite a lot of meat to it, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally there with you. I definitely want to sink my teeth into it a little bit more. I mean, I'm not even max level yet, but yeah. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Okay,
Cool.
let's move on to some honourable mentions, if that's cool with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So I just there was a trailer, and a release date trailer, should I add, for Warhammer Darktide. Finally got revealed for September the
Jesus.
13th, which is great. That game went under the radar. That got
Forgot it
revealed like
existed.
May 2020, I think. Like
Yeah.
ages. So we're coming up to 2 years now since we've heard anything about it, really. So thank goodness it's finally got a date. It looks
It
mighty
does look
crispy.
it
It
do,
looks
it does
mighty
look
crispy.
really good. Yeah. I'm actually
Um,
pretty psyched for that game. But yeah, it's just been dead for so long. I completely forgot it existed, to be honest.
and just as a reminder to everyone as well, it is current gen only, so you can only get this on Series X and S and obviously PC. Presumably, you'll be able to stream it if you've got an Xbox One. Um, you know, barring the quality. And there was something else I was going to say about it.
Do you think it's going to be a Games Pass one? Like
Um,
Outriders situation?
oh, I feel like it. Oh, that's a good question.
It
I
could
feel
be.
like
I have this weird feeling that it could be. You know,
it's
it's
that
like a
sort of game, isn't it?
little spark. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
depends
would.
if there's upsell, I guess. Really, I think that's what it
In
comes down to.
in my head, it was announced already as a Games Pass title, but in the recent trailer, it didn't say Games Pass, so maybe I'm
Mm.
making that up. Yeah, it's the type of game, isn't it? And then like Vermintide has like a good history of being on Games Pass and presumably doing quite well. Um, yeah, I think it would be a good one. It just depends. I think it's a shame it's coming out so late in the year. Like it coming out right now would be so good. Um, we don't know if it's like a full exclusive or a timed exclusive. I'm assuming it's like a timed exclusive. Um, but by the time that comes out, what is it? October after that, probably going to be Redfall.
November.
But we spoke about this before. Like they're probably holding Redfall for October, like Halloween time. In which case, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're the same game. Well, yeah, they're not. They're not in the sense that Darktide is very more. It's a lot more Left 4 Dead-y, whereas Redfall is like more open worldy, supposedly. So
Yeah. Yeah. But similar styles, similar like 4-player co-op looter. Um, you know, shooter with skills and powers and stuff like that. It does overlap in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah,
And then 1 month after that, you got the big old boy Starfield, haven't you?
yeah,
So there's a lot coming out in those 3 months. And Dark Tide and Redfall and Starfield are all those sort of huge games where it's not just pick up and put down again in a week. You know, they're like quite intense looter sort of games or large RPGs or something like that. You know, stuff that you hope to hold for quite a while. So yeah, it'd be
yeah.
interesting to see how they all piece together. And
I
it could
suppose
be
that
an expensive month. Actually,
yeah.
well,
Well, I
no,
was gonna say
Games Pass.
yes, because Redfall and Starfield are Games Pass, maybe that does free up a bit of flexibility for a lot of subscribers. Like if Darktide isn't in, maybe it's like, oh well, I'm probably going to play Redfall in October. Not a big deal to splash out, some money on Darktide now, and then see where we're at in a month. Like if Redfall comes out and is better, then maybe I'll move to that. And if not, then maybe we'll stay on Darktide. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm like you. Yeah, I'm excited for Darktide. Vermintide was wicked. Darktide looks like an improvement, and it looks. I'm. It's I think it's the first game that we know of, other than like Flight Sim, that's like, and the medium, I guess, that's like only going to be Series X and S. Like,
yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
think
Redfall is as well, and so is Starfield, but obviously they're afterwards. So yeah,
yeah. I think that it will be one of the first of its kind. That's literally just like buy a new console
yeah,
or fuck off. yeah,
yeah, pretty much, yeah. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I am excited to see how it shapes up. Those are always a good time. It's Fat Shark, isn't it, that do them?
yeah,
Yeah, they always do a good job. They've really been refining that engine for a while. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Um, cool. So next up, there was quite a lot of like general industry news this week, and like we haven't quite got the time today to go over all of it. So I've just tried to put some of the big stuff in today. So one of the other big bits of news that was this week was that Remedy announced that they were doing a Max Payne remake, not remaster, for 1 and 2, Max Payne 1 and 2, in collaboration with Rockstar, because I think Rockstar published it back in the day, so the IP rights
yeah.
were like scattered. I never played Max Payne, so this doesn't mean anything to me, but I know a lot of people have been very excited about this, and I didn't know if you were familiar at all with the IP.
Yeah, I played Max Payne. Yeah, I played it a bit, not to completion because I was quite sort of young when that sort of came out. But I do remember watching my brothers play it a lot as well, and it was a cool fucking game, man. Like
It's like
it
bullet time
was
and diving around and
yeah,
stuff, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah, it was a really fucking cool game. You could do some amazing shit that just made you feel like a complete badass in that game.
that's
But it's
awesome.
like your classic. It's like you're playing a fucking Liam Neeson movie, right?
Yeah.
It's that's basically what it is. But yeah, that's pretty hype. Like I think a full on remake. You know, if I'm imagining remake in the sense of Final Fantasy VII remake and Dead Space remake. You know, they're proper going for it and they're just making it entirely new.
Well,
Essentially,
they're
I think
making
that
it
could be cool.
in their engine, the Northlight engine, same one as
Oh,
Control and
okay.
Quantum Break, so it will look
Oh,
nice.
yeah, that looks so good. Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. And for nostalgia's sake, that's a game I might actually buy. To be honest,
Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Remedy has quite a lot in the works now. They've said they're doing like a multiplayer game. We know they're doing Alan Wake 2. Now
Yeah,
they're doing this. So that's quite a lot because they're not a massive team. Like they're like mid-sized. And they're known to be slow. Like Remedy are known to be like not time efficient. So we'll have to see how it goes. Hopefully they aren't taking too much on, because that has happened
yeah.
before.
I mean, it'll probably be a while till this comes out. By the sounds of it, literally just been
Well,
announced, no release date.
maybe, but like my concern is that if they're doing it, if they've agreed like to collab with Rockstar, then there might be some additional pressure to make this priority. If you know what I mean.
That's true, and there'll be additional resource put into it as well, so they can get it done quicker as well.
So it's going to hit something
Maybe,
in the development chain, wherever that is.
yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to know if it's probably a next year game, I would imagine, but it could be the end of this year. But
Yeah, I don't know
uh,
how far along development they are. I don't know if they even said in the blog if it was like where they were at. But yeah,
Yeah, it's cool though.
um, cool. Okay, and the last honorable mention for this episode is the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Am I saying that right? Is that is that the right?
Yeah, it's the
Have I said those
Skywalker
words in the
saga.
correct order?
I don't know, but you got all the right words.
Yeah,
Whether
they're
they're in
there.
the right order. Yeah.
The Sky Saga, walking in the Star Wars.
You
It's
forgot
currently sitting
Lego.
at. Oh, God.
It's like the main bit.
Yeah, it's come out to an 82 on OpenCritic. A lot of the reviews I've read have been really good, calling it like a really good step forward for the Lego franchise. I haven't played a Lego game in a while since Lego Avengers, which I, funnily enough, used for a psychological experiment during my first degree. And I haven't touched a Lego game since. For which you were a participant, correct?
Yeah. An
Yeah.
unwilling participant, by the way.
Yeah, that's
Lawsuit
right.
pending.
Yeah, just change you down here.
But yeah, I'm actually kind of pissed off with this game because I like. No, it's great. It's done well. It's fantastic, and I think it's like a really good fan service because like it just goes through like all the games, and apparently it does it like in a really it does a good job. Like the attention to detail is great, and people love it. And it's fun, right? It's Lego, but like one, I'm not a huge fan of Lego games. Two, I googled every single Lego game leading up to this and looked at the Open Critic score, and they were all like 70,
wow,
74, 75 max. And
oh,
I'm
for
like,
Fantasy Critic.
yeah. And I was like, I'm going to counter pick this. And then this game fucking booms it and gets like 85. And now I got like minus 15.
You are not doing great on Fantasy
No, I'm
Critic,
not.
are you?
But like I literally looked at all previous Lego games. How was I supposed to know this would be a banger? And I gave this one a bit of a Google as well back at the time. And people were like, yeah, it has potential, but you know, it's also just another Lego installment. So I was like, I'm going to counter pick this. What's the worst that can happen? Like high 70s at worst, right? No, it gets like mid 80s. Fantastic. Anyway, yeah. So I was a little bit triggered by that, but overall, yeah, it looks like a pretty cool game. And I'm sure it could be fun to play with a like a local co-op partner and stuff like that.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it, dude. It sounded like your heart rate went up a bit there. Maybe it's been recorded on your armband.
Yeah. Oh, it has. I've got alerts fly through right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a shame. It does suck for you. You have not had good luck with your counter picks. No, not you. Well, a lot of your picks actually.
Just my picks in general. Yeah. It's fucking AIDS, man.
But I just wanted to give it a shout. I don't really have much to add, but you know, it's nice to see when these games come out and do well, and move it forward, because they are always a bit like, I know a lot of adults enjoy like Lego games, but like they only hold my attention for so long. You know, but yeah, I can't deny the appeal that they have for like families, you know, like playing through one of them with your kids or whatever. That's like really, really great experience. It does, like, I've got I know we're on the clock, but I kind of want to ask, like, what are there any games that you would like any franchises that you would like to see Lego'd like into a game?
Oh god, that's quite the question.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of like all my favorite. I'm trying to think of all my favorite franchises and whether or not they'd work Lego. Instantly, I thought Monster Hunter Lego, and I was like, nah, I just don't.
It'd be very complicated.
Yeah, it'd be very complicated.
I think a Lord of the Rings Lego would be. Has there been a Lego Lord of the Rings game? I know there's sets.
I feel like there has been a Lego Lord of the Rings game. I feel like there has been. But yeah, it would totally fit the setting, right? Like the big old fucking battles and stuff like that done in Lego.
Yeah. What about like a really gory, like Doom? I think about like a gory game where it's just like loads of like red, you know, little pellets flying off everywhere.
Great. That could actually be quite cool. Yeah, Doom Lego. Yeah, it could be quite interesting. Halo Lego,
yeah. Well, there was that the Mega Bloks thing a couple of years back. Do you remember that? It was like leaked. There was like a Mega Bloks, which is like, you know, Lego off-brand, whatever.
Yeah.
Game in development, and there was some gameplay leaked, and it like kind of looked all right. I could see Halo working in that capacity.
Yeah, cutesy little spin on Halo. I could definitely see it working, or even potentially Gears. Gears a little bit less. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Food,
Yeah,
food
it's
for thought.
quite an interesting topic. I'm going to go with Halo though. I think Halo would be
Yeah, I think
like the
Halo would be
one
good as
that
well.
works best in my head, at least.
Uh, Okay, so all right, let's move on to the main news for today. And what's the time? It is 30. So the main news for today is, well, to start with, nice and easy, nice and basic. There's been an update to the dashboard that's pressing the Xbox button switches your TV's input to whatever the Xbox is on. I probably wouldn't have added this to like main bits of news, but this is so useful to me. I couldn't not mention it because I'm like always panicking to find my remote.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I have like quite a few different devices plugged in, and like I use the smart TV sometimes rather than like watching through the Xbox because of just ease, like the ease of access is just a little bit better. Um,
Hmm.
and then I'm not logged in then, so people can't see my weird search history. So yeah, I usually prefer that.
Interesting.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, I could see someone who has loads of devices plugged in like you, this being quite useful. For me, I literally just do everything through my Xbox. My Xbox is my gaming and entertainment system. So I watch Netflix, I watch Prime, I watch YouTube for it, and I also play games. So I literally never switch my source. But yeah,
You sound like an advert. You sound like an
yeah,
advert, dude.
I know. We're sponsored by
How
Xbox.
much?
I got
This is
yeah,
sick.
yeah, I got connections, man.
Right.
Did I not mention this going in?
This is
Yeah,
new to me. This is very
yeah.
new.
I'm now extremely nervous.
This is breaking news.
You're like shaking, like reading the news.
Yeah. Right. Next up.
Oh god.
Wow. Okay. Right. Yeah. Next up, though. Seriously.
Yeah.
So this funny. There's been like this developing like story with Fallout 76. That we've had. That was like
Yeah.
the next year's roadmap. Oh, there's a 10-year roadmap, and we were kind of like, okay, well that's cool. Like that's good. Like good on them for not like letting it die. And it's gotten its own following now, and that's great. And they can go from there. Well, in order to execute all of those plans, they've announced. Is it a partnership? I thought it was actually. Sorry, I thought this was an acquisition to do a studio called Double 11. I'm not familiar with what they've done, but they're established. And in my head, before I was reading this news, I thought it was that they had acquired them, but it looks
No,
like they're
it
just
seems like a
working in
partnership.
collaboration. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they've brought on another studio to essentially help with the development of Fallout 76. To execute all those plans. And I think this is interesting because either they need more support to execute those plans, or they don't want to let the game die and are handing off most of the development, like the groundwork, to Double 11 while they do the oversight, and then the rest of that team can then move into other stuff. Like maybe the rest of that team are now moving into Elder Scrolls 6, like now that Starfield's coming up, like maybe they're getting the pre-production rolling on that. So
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if they need a bigger team to keep supporting 76 or if they're just moving some of the team away to other projects now.
Okay. Yeah. I imagine it's just like probably like a. I think it's probably maybe it's just like a mixture of both. To be honest, maybe they literally just can't. I think Bethesda might just be sort of giving a little bit more work to them while they is how we said, while they work on their other projects and stuff like that, and they're
Yeah.
just like listen, you can mainly do Fallout 76. We'll inject most of it into you, and we'll keep a small team of Bethesda officials to work with you. I think that's probably more like it, to be honest. And just looking up what they've done in the past, Double 11, it looks like they worked on Rust along with Face Punch
Rust.
Studios, which kind of makes sense because Rust is that sort of, it's like another live service, open world MMO. I don't want to say MMO, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Just
like
all the
shared world.
players, yeah, all
Yeah.
the players are playing in one server sort of thing. So they've got experience working in that area already. They also help with Minecraft Dungeons as well, along with
Yeah.
Mojang. and
Crackdown 3 I can see
apparently
here as well.
Crackdown 3. Yeah, unfortunately, I was going to skim over that one. And yeah, just some other stuff, but apparently a decent amount of Lego stuff. So, but yeah, so it kind of makes sense with their experience recently with Rust. That's probably why they've been picked up to work in collaboration with them, to be honest.
And also the fact that they've worked with Xbox Game Studios before probably made them a good candidate as well. Like, you know, they went to Phil and be like, should we do this? And Phil was like, yeah, they're all right. They're all right. Oh.
Yeah. He just like gives fucking Todd his card. Yeah, go on.
Go on. Have some fun. Yeah. Experience the thrill that I've been experiencing, you know?
Todd's like, PIN number? He's like, oh, no, you should be able to afford them on the contactless. It's fine.
Yeah.
Boop. Yeah, but no, obviously it isn't a purchase. I was just kidding. It's a partnership. Just for the sake of the joke, everyone.
Yeah, come on.
God,
stay with the bit.
Appreciate my comedy.
Yeah,
it's insane. You can't say anything these days. Yeah.
They get slapped. All right. Well, there was something happening with Minecraft, and then it didn't happen. So now there's not really a story here, but there was like everybody got excited for a moment because on the Minecraft tile, the X and S like optimization like badge came up, and everyone was like, "Oh, is 4K Minecraft finally happening?" Because that's been like an ongoing like joke because they showed it off, and everyone was like, ha, 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 "That's so fun." And then it like looked really good. And everyone was like, "Oh, like the super duper graphics pack or whatever it was called." And then after everybody getting excited that something was fine, like movement was finally happening, the Minecraft Twitter account said that they were prototyping some stuff, and it inadvertently triggered the that badge to come up. So nothing happened. Back to plain old Minecraft without super duper graphics. My heart yearns for super duper graphics Minecraft. Give me my ray tracing now.
I still don't think it'd bring me back. I think I'm done with Minecraft these days.
Nah, that'll be fun.
I don't know. We gave it a go not that long ago.
You're never done with Minecraft. It finishes with you. You don't finish with it.
I don't know, dude. I kind of feel like I'm finished with it.
How can
I feel
you
like
be?
I'd rather play Roblox.
You would not rather play Roblox. You'd rather experience insanity.
There's a reason why I haven't completed Elden Ring yet, Deck, and it's Roblox. I go on a peer offline and I play Roblox.
And what do you do?
I Roblox.
I do.
That's what they call it. That's what they call it in the industry.
It's like a verb.
You're Robloxing. Yeah.
It sounds horrible, honestly. Might need to get you an intervention.
It's an intervention?
Yeah.
Quit scope. Oh, God.
Okay. All right, then. Okay, next up. Here we are. More than anything else, I'm glad that this finally happened with PlayStation and Spartacus PS Plus, just so I don't have to talk about it anymore. I was getting a bit sick of talking about it.
I was getting annoyed. Yeah, it was getting to like Starfield levels. I was like, can we just fucking stop talking about Starfield for like 1 week? Just 1 week.
Well, we've actually got it a bit later on. Sorry. And it's like a nothing story as well. It's like absolutely nothing happened. So we'll go around to that. There was a small trailer actually. Anyway, never mind. Okay, Spartacus finally happened. Did you read up on this, or should I very quickly go over the such like do the summary?
I mean, I did read up on it, but you should summarize it for the sake of the people listening.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so if you haven't already seen, this happened like last week. PlayStation announced their new subscription service. It's the subscription service that everybody has been saying, oh, it's PlayStation's Games Pass. And, a while back, Jeff Grubb at GamesBeat, and I think Jason Schreier reported on it, and both essentially said, outlined, pretty much correctly, what has come out, leaked, I guess, what those tiers would be. It would be a 3-tier model. There wouldn't be day-and-date games. It would involve streaming and some access to older titles. And since then, there's been a lot of debate about, is this like a Games Pass competitor, or is it not? Or, what slice of the pie is this going for, and how good would it be? So now that we finally have the details, those conversations are obviously still ongoing, but to try and summarize, this is a merging of PlayStation's existing PS Plus, which is the Xbox Live Gold equivalent, and PS Now,
Yep.
which is their like pseudo backwards compatibility. Essentially, it's like a merging of those two things. And then distributed, and then some additional things thrown in there, and then stretched across 3 tiers. So at the lowest tier, it's the same price as PS Plus, called PlayStation Plus Essential. So it comes with the basics, like your 2 or 3 games free a month,
Mm-hmm.
your cloud storage for saved games, which by the way is absolute horseshit. I just want to put that out there. Like you don't get cloud saves, and if you're not paying. Like on Xbox, you don't have
What?
to be subscribed to Xbox. Like if you're not connected to the internet on
Oh
PlayStation,
my
but you don't
god!
get cloud saves. Did you not
I
know that? That's like a
actually, I actually never put that together. So if I didn't have PlayStation Essential or just PlayStation Plus, even right now, I wouldn't be able to just like sign in and carry on like my Elden Ring on
no.
your PlayStation.
Yeah, that's right. It would like data would save locally, but yeah,
Yeah,
you wouldn't
locally.
be able to. And
Yeah,
you only have limited storage, obviously, and like
because
some.
like it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't get cloud
yeah.
saved.
Because if I was like if I just like signed in on like your Xbox or
Yeah,
my other friend's Xbox
you wouldn't be able to.
with my account booted up Elden Ring on Xbox, I would be able to just download my save and carry on with my character. But I wouldn't be able to do that on PlayStation. I actually never put that together. That's awful. That's
Isn't
shit.
that
I
awful?
can't believe they charge.
And
Like,
that's always been a thing, but it's been one of those real like Achilles heels for the service that people have always been like, why can't you just give us that for free? Like,
yeah,
'cause I remember, well, I don't, and I'm not really sure why, because I'm assuming it's been a while since somebody was gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been a while since I've played my PS4. But when I was like going through all of those really good exclusives, like a couple of years back, I did have this issue where I didn't have PS Plus for a bit, and I tried to, what was it? Like I'd lost connection or something. Yeah, that was it. Like I had PS Plus and then it expired, and then I tried to play again and it wouldn't let me. The save wouldn't carry through because it was like locked up in the cloud, and
oh,
I
it
didn't
was
have access to it
cloud
anymore.
only. Your save.
Yeah. Well, like if you have PS Plus, it does it automatically, But then if you run out, it's like, oh, sorry, you don't have a save.
Damn.
Which I was like baffling. Which is like, I think it's like a real big barrier to you getting this as a secondary console. If that makes sense. Like,
Yeah. Mm.
because I ended up buying, like, I found like a cheap subscription at the time for Bloodborne because I wanted to experience like the asymmetrical multiplayer and everything. But yeah, I actually ran into that issue and I was like, man, I can't believe, is this a thing? So yeah, that's
Yeah.
still a problem. I don't know why they haven't ironed that out. It seems really just like unnecessarily restrictive. But anyway, sorry. So this is the first tier. So you get all of that basic stuff for, in our currency, it's £7 a month, £50 yearly. That's for your basics, access to multiplayer, your basics, few games a month, exclusive discounts,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So nothing changes there. Really, I don't think there's actually anything different about that compared to how it was
Yeah.
before.
I
So
think
you
it's
could
exactly
feasibly
the same.
stay on that, and there's no changes, and that's great. Other than the fact that there's still no cloud storage, save games for free.
Yeah.
Then you've got PS Plus Extra. So you get all the benefits from the previous tier, and you get a catalogue of up to, air quotes, 400, and then there's a little asterisk, 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalogue and third-party games. Games in the extra tier are downloadable for play. So
Okay.
this is like the Games Passy sort
Yeah.
of bit.
Library of games.
Yeah, it's got a big library of games. We don't know what those games are. Like, it doesn't go back beyond PS4, which I think is a bit disappointing to some people. 400 is a big number. Like, that is a big number. So, I
It's a
don't
lot
know
of
how they're
games.
getting. Yeah, like, I don't know what sort of games they're putting in here. That it is raising my eyebrow a bit, because it's like I
I'm
don't.
sure. I'm sure we're gonna have bug snacks. I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, it's just like, is this like 300 games of filler? I don't know. Like, I guess I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know if I would say that
because
Games Pass has a lot of filler. I don't know.
the it does have a decent amount of filler. Like not too much. Most of it are pretty hard hitters, like for sure. But like there are some fillers. 100%, because there are hundreds of games in Games
I
Pass as well.
guess.
When you think about it, but yeah, it's quite interesting because like I'm wondering. The first thing that popped into my head was like, would a game like Miles Morales
Morales.
be in there?
Yeah.
Miles Morales be in there? Because I've like that's been on my radar to play. Still need to complete the first Spider-Man, but it's on my radar to play because it looks really fucking cool. Um, will that be in there? I don't know.
So
Like
that they
it's
do say
very unclear.
they do say a bit further down after we get to the next tier, but they say at launch we plan to include titles such as Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and
Oh,
Returnal.
well there
Um,
you go.
so yeah, but I guess this is the question as well, and I guess this question does like permeate through the next tier, or the final tier, which is PlayStation Plus Premium. Um, it doesn't sound like they're gonna have all their first party titles there. Like they've already said that
No.
there's no day and date. Like there's nothing on day one, and that's been the biggest point of contention. And that's I think the thing which really keeps Games Pass like a league above it.
Mm-hmm.
But we can come back around to that. But beyond that, it doesn't sound like they're planning to have all of their first party games there, which does surprise me. Like, I was expecting that they
Yeah.
would. I was
Like
expecting they'd be like,
where's Horizon?
yeah.
Horizon
Did I read that?
wasn't listed there. No, it says Death
No.
Stranding, God of
Yeah,
War,
you're right.
Marvel Spider-Man. It doesn't say anything about Horizon. Doesn't say anything about Bloodborne, anything like that.
and
But
and,
I mean,
and that's the thing.
but
I'm sure they will cycle in and out. But it's just the fact that I'm just a bit confused. I thought they would have all of their their older first party catalog would be there. I assume that they would want that brand recognition
yeah,
to be like, these are our games, and if you pay the extra bit, they're yours, and they're our quality titles. Do you know what I mean? But they're kind of
hundred
missing out
percent.
on that.
Yeah, I feel like that should be the bare minimum to be like, here are some 2 year old games, 2+ year old games that we're
Yeah.
known for, classics. Like, where's The Last of Us as well? It's stuff like that. It's just like these are staples of PlayStation, and you're upgrading your tier. Uh, by the way, you're upgrading it a lot. How much is it extra? It's
It's
well,
so for us, it's
you're
£11 monthly,
yeah, you're
32
upgrading it
quarterly, and
like an extra
84 yearly.
yeah, so you're upgrading it like an extra like 16 quid over the course of the year. So okay, it's not like a substantial amount, but you'd expect at least that, right, in your library of games.
Well, it's essentially double what it was from the essential tier. Essential was £50, 49.99, and this extra tier is 84.
Oh, dude, I'm being an idiot. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
not double.
I was reading the difference between extra and premium. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. It's substantially more. Sorry. Yeah.
And,
It's
and
like an
on
extra like £34.
and on a monthly basis, it goes from £7 a month to £11 a month.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's good for that catch-all. Like this strikes me as like the good catch-all thing for like your kid, right? If you want to give them like a year of PS Plus extra, you get like loads of games. Go and have a great time.
Yeah.
And I can't fault that. Like it's not that expensive. It is a big step up, but I suppose this tier isn't really aimed at us. I guess,
No.
but I
Guess not.
still, nonetheless, I guess that's maybe a good jumping point to move to the final tier, which is PlayStation Plus Premium. So this comes with all the benefits of the previous two tiers, and it says adds up to an additional 340. Then there's another little asterisk, 340 games. So we're talking, which again, it's a bit overkill at that point, because now we're talking 740 games, like allegedly, and it's like, I don't know. I suppose
Yeah.
I've always been a
It's a bit
fan of how
daunting.
Games Pass isn't like infinitely growing. I mean, there is in one sense it is a little bit, because they keep their first party games in there indefinitely. Maybe a day will come where they'll have to rethink that, but I think it caps out at like 200 or something. I don't know. It's always a manageable library.
Yeah.
740 games is like, I don't know. It seems it's like diminishing returns. That like there's only so much that I can
Yeah.
play.
That's just a number for the sake of a number. Like, we have a big number. It's bigger
Yeah.
than yours.
Yeah, exactly. And I would be saying the same thing if tomorrow, like, there was an Xbox Wire post and Phil was like, "We're adding 800 games to Games Pass," and I'd be like, "Well, like, what realistically are you adding that I
Yeah.
like haven't already played or that I want to play that isn't already in the service?" Um,
Mm.
so anyway, so the big part about PS Premium. So amongst those 340 games include PS3 games, so a bit more backwards compatibility, but it's via cloud streaming.
Yeah.
So
You can't play them locally. Yeah.
it's not native backwards compat, and that stirred up a bit of controversy because everybody knows PS3 had a hellish architecture, and it's part of the reason why Sony haven't wanted to try to emulate it. Whereas Xbox has been able to do such good backwards compatibility, and there's an argument of like, can they not do it, or do they just not want to put the R&D and the cost and the time into doing it? Like, I think they probably could if they wanted to.
Yeah. I
Um,
think so.
but it's just they've decided not that many people will use it, and therefore it's kind of not worth it. But it's better than nothing, I guess. But it seems like a bit of a half-assed like kind of approach. So there's that, and then there's a catalogue of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations, which again is pretty cool. So I don't. It's not really clear on like if they're all going to be downloadable, but for people who are into that and like want that, like that heritage, they want that stuff to be able to exist in perpetuity. It's good that it's there, and we've always said that about Xbox. We've said it's good that these things get to keep existing and they don't just get
Mm-hmm.
put into this. So this is good. This I think this is overall good. I just think it's funny seeing PlayStation coming round to Xbox's like thinking on this. It's like, oh, we believe in generations. We're
Yeah.
gonna like skip and leave everything behind. It's like, oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
Except, of course, the only difference here is that PlayStation are charging you their highest tier, whereas on
I was
Xbox you
literally
can
just
do
about to
backwards
say that.
compatibility for free. So people are also a bit down on that. That it's like, why is this like a reasonably big feature like locked behind a very
Mm-hmm.
expensive subscription?
Yeah. No, yeah, I was literally just about to bring out the same thing. If we just have it, but PlayStation have locked it behind their highest tier of monthly subscription. Um, and I don't know. For me, that's not an incentive to jump to the highest tier, personally, backwards compatibility. I feel like if their highest tier was like first party studios, then I'd be like, that's a justifiable highest tier right there. Playing a PSP game isn't, and like PS3 via cloud streaming. I don't know. Like, sure, there were some good PS3 games. You're not going to play them natively. They're not going to be perfect. I played cloud streaming games on Xbox. I remember playing Master Chief Collection and stuff like that via cloud streaming, like for a few hours once. It's not great. Like, the experience is by far from actually complete. Like, I'd give it like a solid 6. There was input
Yeah,
delay, there was screen wipes, there was pixelated
tearing. Yeah,
images. Um, it's not fantastic. So that PS3 via cloud streaming does not seem like nice to me in any way. Like, I don't
and
think I'd
also
even use it
you've
personally.
got to assume that Xbox is the furthest ahead in streaming in the industry.
Exactly.
Like,
We've been
maybe
doing it for a
Stadia.
while.
Some people say Stadia is very good. Like the actual tech for Stadia is very, very good.
Hmm.
But you have to imagine that this isn't going to be as good. I have done some like of the remote play stuff. I don't know if that's technically streaming. Like I've done it from Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi, like from a different house, but in the past, and it wasn't too bad actually. I was pleasantly surprised with how good it was for PlayStation. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, it depends on the games you're playing. Like you say, like Master Chief Collection, maybe not, but like there are some games which are suited really well. And once you combine that with like older games that maybe aren't as accessible, like on controller, let
Mm.
alone via streaming, which I suppose would also be by controller. So I'm thinking I've got like touched on the brain like XCloud. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
would that would compound into something a bit more difficult. But yeah, it's nice that it's there. It's just not like a killer feature,
Hmm.
and the value is really not apparent. It'll be there for some people, but it's just not the sort of thing. I don't even think this would appeal to most like people in the hardcore sector, you know. Whereas you look at
Yeah.
Games Pass Ultimate and you look what you get there. I think most people of our like level, like the intensity of fandom, are like, yeah, wow, that's like if I can afford that, there's no reason for me not to have that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So then there's it also offers streaming access for original PlayStation, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games offered in the extra and premium tiers and markets. Okay, so all of the games that we listed in the previous tier are can be streamed if you have this tier, but they can't be streamed if you have the previous tier. So actually, reading through this right now, I understand a lot of people were saying like it was quite confusing, like what's
Yeah.
available and what. And which I didn't really understand at first, but now actually reading through it properly, I'm now kind of understanding that. So the games, the 400 games that you can get in PS Extra, you can download, but can't, and you can play natively, but you can't stream. So it's kind of
Unless,
weird to me that a
yeah.
lot of these features are like stretched because this is just like PS Now
Yeah.
could do a lot of this, not all of it. Like they have added some value here, but they've just stretched it over 3 tiers a little bit. Um,
Exactly. Yeah. I just feel like they're trying to justify the extra tier.
yeah,
By like just taking a piece from the previous tier and putting it into this one to make it seem better. Just like if you don't have enough for 3 tiers, just make 2 tiers and just put it all in one tier. Like I don't know, it's very weird. They're trying to make it out to seem better than it is.
yeah, I agree. And then the final point is that PlayStation Plus Premium will give some time limited game trials, so customers can try select games before they buy. Which like you read that and you're like, oh, that's kind of nice, but then you're like, why do I have to pay a hearty subscription to try a game
Yeah, which if I then like, I still
like
have to
that?
buy for 65 quid.
Yeah, exactly. It's like so I have to
Yeah,
I have to buy a £100 yearly subscription
to
to
play Ragnarok for 1 hour and
for
then
one
buy
hour.
that for 65 quid.
Yeah, it's like it's I
It's
think it's
weird.
a bit cheeky. I think it's a bit cheeky that they're trying to sell a game trial as a feature.
Yeah,
We game trials used to be. I have, and I guess because I don't want to sound hypocritical, because I know EA Play does the same thing, which comes as part of Games Pass Ultimate, but that's kind of like an accessory. It's like auxiliary to what the Games Pass Ultimate subscription is. You get EA Play as like a bit on the side or the cherry on top, and EA Play
mm.
happen to do trials as a result. Like having it as one of the main 4 features of this tier isn't a good look. I don't think.
No, yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, a demo or a trial should be an incentive to buy a £65 game if you're proud of your product. Be like, try it. We know you'll love it. It's free, and then we'll get your purchase out of you because we're confident in our product. The fact that you're paying for this access to the trial to then buy the product, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like my brain is actually confused.
No, and like
It's
why?
not. It's not a thing. But hey,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they could have gotten more goodwill here by like just saying alongside this announcement, we're happy to announce. And this maybe would have offset some of the upset around day and date. Like as part of your PlayStation Plus Essential, so like the basic
yeah,
one, you'll get a 1 hour game trial. We'll up this to 2 hours in our premium trial. Right, so at least it's like an
yeah,
enhancement of a basic feature rather than like we're locking this away at our highest tier. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
And then so I guess in terms of pricing, it's really interesting actually because this at least in sterling, in the UK, I think it is for all the other currencies as well across US, Europe, and Japan. But PS Plus Premium is more expensive than Games Pass Ultimate monthly. Games Pass Ultimate doesn't offer a yearly subscription. And so yearly PS Premium is cheaper if you buy it on a yearly basis.
yeah.
I think this is really cheeky and I think this is deliberate. This is so people are less incentivized to buy it for a month or two,
Mhm.
right? To try out the newest game. because you
Yeah.
look at the prices and it will say on their website best value, yearly best value. Break it
Mhm.
down. This is how much it will cost you a month, which will be substantially less if you buy it for the year.
It's
So,
not. It's not. That's very normal though. Like as a
oh
person who
yes,
works with software subscriptions
of
at
course,
work all the time, there's always cheaper if they lock you in annually
of
over
course.
monthly. Always
No, yeah,
discounts.
totally. Yeah, no, I totally get that. It makes total sense. But I think it's just especially like salt in the wound because they know that people are going to want to dip in and out of this service,
Yeah.
to try
Hmm.
some of their games, to try a trial, whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it is good that the yearly subscription is cheaper. And if Games Pass Ultimate did like a yearly subscription, they would probably knock a bit of price off too. They probably should offer one, so maybe that is a bit of leverage. Um, but yeah, it's whatever. It's still expensive. It's like 10 quid cheaper, and obviously I don't. Having had the discussion that we've had, I don't feel like it has as much value overall.
No, no, it doesn't. I mean, it's not bad. I feel like anyone listening, when we're not bashing on it, like the service is good and it's good value for money, especially if you're dipping in at games or there's lots of, you're a big fan of multiple genres, all that sort of stuff. You've got quite a bit of time in your hands. Like this is the thing to go for instead of buying individual games for 65 quid a piece. Like 100%, it's a great service. But
Yeah,
for us, and from what we've experienced with Games Pass, it's just not quite as good, to be honest. And the biggest factor is obviously we've talked about the negatives like the game trials and all this cloud streaming locked behind the highest tier. It's confusing, it's weird, but like it's just a fact that first parties aren't in there as well. And like PlayStation did touch on this, and basically they just said we can't afford to do that right now. We're
well,
not Microsoft. We're
yeah.
not Microsoft is basically what they were saying. They were like playing the wounded puppy sort of. We're
Yeah,
doing
like
the best of what
victim.
we can, guys. Yeah,
I mean, a little bit. So that is it is an interesting point that I do want to sort of jump back round to. But yeah, like I think it's important to just note that I think that I think this is like good overall. It does provide additional value, which is like important. I think the PS Extra tier is probably the most.
yeah.
But
That's the
that's
one
going to be
I'd
the
go
most
for.
popular, yeah, because it's like it adds a library. It's essentially like small Games Pass, um, with some first party stuff in there. Um,
Hmm.
but I think it really hinges on what what it is. Like what are those 400 games? What first party games are you putting in there? Because there's a lot of stuff that's left like a bit ambiguous and a bit vague here. Like I've said, it's
Yeah,
very, if they put all of their first party stuff in there, it's not day one, fine. But if they put all of the older stuff in there that's maybe like 2 years old and beyond, I think that's pretty good. If it's like just a selection and they're cycling in their own games in and out, I'm suddenly not like, I don't want to be on a timer. Like I like that about Games Pass. I like that I can go back and play Forza Horizon 5 or Flight Sim. I can like dip into those games whenever I want without fear of them
yeah,
disappearing one day. Like Gears
yeah.
5, all of this stuff. It feels more like I own it, even though I'm well aware of the fact that I don't. So there's that. So there is some details that haven't yet been revealed. They're doing, the next we're hearing about this is like in 3 months' time. I think they said it's like July. So it's like, okay, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
and the final point is that a lot of PlayStation Cloud streaming hasn't hit like lots of smaller markets. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. But whereas X Cloud is in a lot of international like countries at the moment, PS Plus isn't. So they have like a separate tier for that called PS Plus Deluxe. So they're like, for markets without cloud streaming, PS Plus Deluxe will be offered at a lower price compared to premium and include the PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations for download and play and time limited game trials. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like another tier. Like, so I guess I understand why people get a bit confused.
Hmm.
So yes, so that's kind of like the summary and where we're at with that, and like how there is still some stuff which is yet to be seen. But that yeah, I think it's an interesting thing that you said. Like Jim Ryan came out and said that. I said when he was pressed on like, oh, so why isn't there like day and date? They were like, oh yeah, we don't think that's sustainable. Like we think it would harm the quality of our games. I was like, oh dude,
Yeah.
like shut the fuck up. Like, what are you on about?
Yeah. We think it
um,
would harm our wallets. I mean, the quality of our games.
yes.
Sorry. Can we cut? Can we cut that? That'd be great.
Yeah. Don't put that in. I didn't say that. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So the quote we've got here is the level of investment that we need to make in our studios would not be possible in regards to day and date, and we think the knock-on effect on the quality of the games that we make would not be something gamers would want. Thanks for making the decision for me, buddy.
Yeah. Gamers don't want
They
first
don't.
party games
No,
like day one for a easy subscription service. Gamers want to
true
pay
gamers.
65 quid a
Yeah,
piece. Some
yeah.
maybe even £70. Don't forget the gold editions of the game. Some would probably want to pay 85. We
Yeah, they
know what
like
gamers
it.
want.
They like it. They like the feeling of their wallets emptying. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, they like the feeling of eating rice every day for a week just so they can afford one of our games.
So they can play God of War Ragnarok and stroke Kratos' beard. Yeah. And so and this was like another like weird, because like Jim, he he pops off sometimes. Sometimes someone hands him a microphone and he just like kind of goes off on a wild ride. And this is one of those times where he just kind of says what like he wants to say. And so he said, "We feel like we are in a good virtuous cycle with studios," which like that makes sense. Virtuous cycles is like they're apparent everywhere in life with people. You know, you get virtuous cycles of mutual benefit. You're nice to someone, they're nice to you. You know, it's like scientific
Yeah.
karma. It makes sense.
Mhm.
However, he then says, where the investment delivers success, which enables yet more investment, which delivers yet more success. Hello, am I speaking normally? Did that make sense? What did what I say just make sense?
Not really. You missed words. You just
I
stopped
thought
saying
I did.
words.
I thought I did. I was reading it and I was like, have I like just got
It's like you
dyslexic?
just lost interest in it as you were reading it.
I was like, oh, shut up, Jim. Okay. We like that cycle and we think our game is like that cycle. So, in no point in that like that quote that I failed to like verbalize did I understand why day and date games couldn't be part of that. I don't know, because they're like, oh, you know, we invest in studios and then they make good games, and so we invest in them more. And it's like, yeah, we understand how funding works. Like, I don't get,
Yeah.
because you fund, like, you pay people more to get them in day one, presumably. Like, you
Yeah.
know, when Back for Blood came in, they would have got like on day one, they would have got more money then as opposed to like 3 months down the line. So like, I don't understand the point. You know?
Yeah. It's it's very weird. I don't know. It's one of those things where maybe they'll put it in, or maybe they'll add it as another tier, like later down the line, depending how this performs. But then, like, this won't perform how they expect because it's not there in the first place. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit, but
I don't know. Yeah, you got to trust in the process. Sometimes you got to take the leap and just put it in, and it will pay off eventually, right? They're just afraid. I just don't think PlayStation want to lose money, even in the short term, even if it benefits them in the long term. They're just like, no, no,
yeah,
no, no. Margins have to be the same, if not up, all the time. It's just
which
like,
does make a little bit of sense because they are a smaller company than Microsoft. And like, this is
yeah,
not me saying that like a good subscription cannot exist that doesn't have day and day. That's not it at all. I just think the reasoning is so weird and all over the place here. And like, cause like a lot of the press statements they put out, but they're very on the pulse, like Sony with like a lot of what's going on with like fanboy wars and stuff, and they say a lot of stuff to like get social media chattering and defend, like, you know, doing their work for, doing their marketing for them. And sometimes because they use that reasoning, it like doesn't make sense, or like it's just very loose and like airy fairy, and it's like surely Games Pass like disproves this. Like
mm,
surely Netflix disproves this. Like, you know,
yeah,
like what you want about. So I understand it's a bit apples and oranges, but you know that's all. Yeah, it's just odd reasoning. That's all. It's not like necessary, but and they haven't framed this, I don't think, as a Games Pass competitor. I don't think they're really trying to. It's more in line with like Nintendo Switch Online, um,
yeah,
which is funny, that isn't it? We've now got all three all of the big three offering subscription services when everybody thought it was hilarious when Games Pass was introduced, like in 2018.
Yeah, it's quite funny, that, isn't it?
Here we are. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it on Spartacus. Is there anything else that you kind of have got to add there? Would you buy that if you got a PlayStation?
I do have a PlayStation. I feel like I might go for the middle tier service if the catalog of games has a few things I want to play, and like, you know, I'm in a little bit of a dry spell with sort of like Xbox. You know, I'm just like, oh, I played loads of stuff. You know, I'm not actually into anything like too much of my Xbox right now. Let's just get 1 month or 2 months of this middle service. I'll play Miles Morales. I'll play some Returnal. I'll play some. Maybe I'll do The Last of Us if that's in there, or anything like that. Yeah, I could see myself buying the middle tier. Don't think I'd buy the highest tier though.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I'm with you. It depends. It depends what's in there. It depends how long games are staying for.
Mm.
I could see myself doing that. Like you said, if I'm having a dry month and I want to like knock through like one or two PlayStation exclusives.
Yeah,
I guess
exactly. Because it's way cheaper, isn't it? You're spending like 11 quid to play a couple games, but potentially if you could set aside the time.
I guess yeah, it's not that's way cheaper than buying them. I was going to say that's way cheaper than buying the full price, but because they're like
Older,
they're
they
leaning
won't
on
be full
older games,
price.
it's like actually, yeah, like, actually, is it? Like, and
Yeah,
I
because
guess that's kind
you
of
picked up all those games like God of War and Bloodborne for like pennies, didn't you? It was like they were like 6 quid and stuff like that.
yeah. I
Um,
got like Game of the Year
so
editions. I think God of War was like 25 at the time. Yeah, I got Forbidden West Game of the Year for like £10. You know, Bloodborne was like 7. Yeah,
yeah,
and that was in their
so
own store.
yeah, yeah. So
So
all those sort of games you can pick up quite cheap in a decent sale anyway. Yeah,
that's what I mean. It becomes this like umming and ahhing, like rather than like I know I'm going to get the best deal possible here. You know,
yeah,
and that is kind of the problem. I think that's a barrier. The fact that if I'm having that dry spell, I then have to say like, oh, like I have to have a look what's on the subscription. I have to have a look online and see what's like cheap, like CD keys or Amazon, you know, whatever. Like I have to go through that whole rigmarole, and it's like rather than it just being easy peasy. If I click one button on the dashboard on PlayStation, I know I'm going to get all of the first party titles for the next month for 15 quid, or
yeah,
11 quid or whatever, and that is a going to be a barrier. But yeah, like you say, I think the way they've set it up means, which is exactly what we said, by the way, in previous podcasts, that it will just depend. It will just depend what's on
hmm
what per month, what deals are on sale per month, you know, and also like because we're talking about it on a monthly basis, it's the same price as Ultimate, and that kind of like I don't know that it's fine. I guess it's better than buying, you know, obviously than if it was like 40 quid still and I could get a month for 11. That's obviously better, but I don't know, it just feels a bit weird paying the same price but I get so much more in Ultimate, you know, but you know, whatever, is what it
yeah,
is.
yeah. I
It's
agree.
still
Yeah,
ultimately I think it still is more value, but it's just that it, like I said, it's that whole umming and ahhing of like having to figure out like what will be better value rather than knowing it will be better value. I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a real problem.
It's not definitive enough. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, wicked. Well, that's PlayStation Plus done and dusted. Thank God, eh? We've got at least three
yeah.
months away from that until we can talk about it before we speak about it again and they reveal what's in it. So
Thank
that's a
goodness.
good bit of breathing space. Yeah. All right. Well, while we're on subscription services, the next news story was just a small little boy about Guardians of the Galaxy, and one of the devs, I think, in an interview with Eurogamer, has said that they love that. People are now picking it up. Like a lot of their metrics are showing that a lot of people are picking up with Games Pass. They're playing it and sort of sharing their experience after obviously a slow start prior to joining Games Pass. And you're probably thinking, is this really news? Like, yeah, people play games that are in Games Pass, but I just think it's been a really good case study going into the Galaxy because it's a game that Square like presumably refused to put on the service day one and then didn't do well, and then Square were like, as they always do, "Oh, I didn't reach your expectations," and it's like, you made a better call then, didn't you? You should have taken. Presumably,
Yeah,
Xbox reached out and were like, "Do you want to join the service for day one?" And they didn't. And
it's
it would have been such a perfect fit.
it's not like your game didn't reach expectations. Your game was developed and could have reached those expectations. You didn't make the right business decisions that could have got it there. Like
Yeah.
the game was great. Everyone loved the game. Like hell, I've downloaded it and I think I'm going to boot it
So
up
have I.
soon. Like
Yep.
two of our friends that we play with on a regular basis are both playing it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
And
just
they wouldn't
like
have touched it before. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, well, no, not Caden actually bought it, so which
On
is
a
really
deep
funny.
sale. Oh, did he? Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, he does, and the same with the new Life is Strange because the new Life is Strange has just come to Games Pass this month.
Oh, that's right.
Again,
Yeah.
again, he bought that at the same time with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
Hasn't
he's
played
such a
any of
mug.
them.
He's
Yeah,
such a
hasn't
mug.
played. He hasn't played any of them, and then they went to Games Pass, and I was like, "Dude, just stop!" And he was just like, "Yeah, but if I see it on sale, I'm going to buy it, innit?" And I'm just like, "No, like things will come to Games Pass eventually, and you're not going to play it at the time you buy it at the sales." I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's quite
he's the
funny,
sole
but
reason why Phil gets to tweet out and say, like, people buy more games when they're subscribed to Games Pass. It's just him. It's just him just slamming purchase on the sales.
Yeah. All coming from this same IP address.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. But yeah, man. So I yeah, and it just makes me think like what happened before launch because like clearly they must have seen that it was shaping up quite well. They probably got mock interviewers in and they were like, yeah, this is reviewing like mid-80s. Like I think we've got a hit on our hands here. But I just think it's crazy that they didn't read the room of like the reactions online. Interest was really low. Marketing was like no, there wasn't much of it and it wasn't good.
Funny enough, I actually saw a few like adverts for that game. Like, well, I was just eating dinner like on TV. It's just like you don't see
Before it
game
came out.
adverts. Yeah. And I was like, you don't see game adverts like that often. And I was seeing like Guardians of the Galaxy adverts like a bit prior to launch and then also after launch too, like on just
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
mainline TV, which was quite surprising to me. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was just the style then. Maybe it was just more the style of the advertising. But yeah, it's more the fact that they didn't read the room with how people were still processing Avengers and that was going to impact sales. They were like, yeah, the quality will carry it through. But it's like this is what Game Pass is for, dude. This is like literally, this is it. You've got a game which is good quality. Like Microsoft will cut you a pretty big check, like presumably. And then you don't, keep it in there for 3 months, take it out. If people, like, then you've got good word going, people buy it.
Especially when you need to earn some trust back as well. Like it's just like the perfect scenario. But hey ho, you live and you learn. Maybe next time they'll give Games Pass more of a shot. Maybe this is a bit of a user story for other companies to be like, maybe we should do Games Pass. Like this kind of is a bit of a lesson sometimes for like other studios looking in as well.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, it is easy for us to sit here and say that, but like, I think there is an understanding that some devs and publishers are still kind of reluctant about Games Pass. It's doing well and generally they're getting a lot of devs on board, but like some publishers are reluctant and think that they're going to lose money. But that's what the negotiations are for. But yeah, it's a shame. I guess it's a shame, but it's good that I suppose that there's now, the game is having like an upswing, I suppose,
Yeah, it deserves it. Yeah. I think it's a good game.
Excellent. Okay. Next up is the new additions for Games Pass in April. Like you said, we've got Life is Strange True Colors in here. We've got Dragon Age 2 on EA Play, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on EA Play, Star Wars Squadrons. I forgot that game came out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a bit of a banger, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be pretty good. But yeah, I just never saw anything about it. We've got Cricket 22, The Show 22, Chinatown Detective Agency, Lost in Random, which looked kind of good. And then I can't read what those final two are, so I'm just going to have a quick look on my phone. Can you read them?
No, I can't.
Panzer Corps 2.
I would have said Princess Biceps 2. That's how
I'd prefer that game, I think. And the Dungeon of Nehulbuk, the Amulet of Chaos, Chicken Edition.
Nice. Does it actually say Chicken Edition?
It says Chicken Edition. Yeah, I'm not making it up. It says Chicken Edition. This isn't a bit. Yeah,
some pretty good ones in there.
yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. It's being held up by Sports and EA mostly, EA Play. But Life is Strange is a good one to have in because it's not even that old, is it? True Colors. Oh, actually, it's like
It's
6 months. It was in the Game of the Year conversation last year.
yeah,
So
maybe a bit longer than 6 months. It was something. I don't know. Yeah, but it's relatively new. Yeah, and it's making its way there pretty early. Um, so it's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. Overall, pretty nice. There's nothing in here that I maybe will try Life is Strange, but and I did, like I said, Lost in Random looked actually okay despite its weird name. So yeah, I'll have a look. But there's no obviously sort of blockbuster there that like there was with Guardians of the Galaxy last month. But you'll have to see it regardless. E3 it's gone,
Bye
which is
bye.
yeah, it's gone this year. It was only like 3 months ago. I feel like E3 were like, yeah, we're like gonna be here, like we're not going anywhere, and now they're gone again. So I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
not really
So it's
immensely
just
surprising.
cancelled. There's no like online E3.
No, yeah, they've said that the ESA have cancelled and seem to be making a regroup for next year, but they said that last year as well. So we'll see where they're at.
Yeah.
But as per usual, Jeff Keighley steps in with a gleeful smile on his big old face to share that Summer Games Fest will be coming back with another slate of events starting in June. I think it's very likely, and I think Jeff Grubb said as well, that Xbox will have their show in this time frame as well, around June.
Yeah.
But Summer Games Fest has been like reasonably good over the last few years. So, and Jeff Keighley generally
Yeah.
does a good job. It's crazy that he's just one dude that organizes most of this, to be honest. So, big ups to Jeff. Okay. So here's the Starfield bit.
Okay. Nice.
Here's
Been waiting
here's
for
the
this all
nothing article.
episode.
Yeah.
What?
So it was just there was a Bethesda post, and they did like an internal interview with one of the lead Starfield designer, Emil Pagliarulo, and he said,
I know.
yeah, he's a good guy. He said, and I quote, "You get to that point in development where systems really start to work well. When that first happened with Starfield, it was really oh wow, this is something really special. Players are gonna lose their minds. That's it. That's what we're talking about today." What do
So
you look
moving
like when?
on.
What do you look like?
Coalition.
What do you look like when you lose your mind? Hey,
this is
just
what I look
this is
like.
it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Sorry,
Um,
everyone. I just really wanted a reason to shoehorn Starfield into the episode. Clearly, they're excited about their project, and it goes without saying, doesn't it? But I think what really the point here is that the team seems very confident in their game, which, I mean, you love to see it. They called their own release date out like a year in advance, which is very like peculiar, especially during COVID times. So
yeah.
I think this team is confident in their game, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's basically all you can say about this little quote is that they're oozing confidence, right? They're bigging up their product and they're excited both internally and when people get their hands on it. So
And
yeah, man,
I suppose
positive.
this ties into the previous story as well of like, I think June is going to, like, Xbox's E3 is going to be like a big blowout. Oh, and also over on the Xbox Era podcast, they had said that supposedly they're looking to separate the conferences this year. Like, as in Bethesda will have their own, like presumably focusing like maybe on one day, focusing on like Starfield and then maybe Redfall, and then Xbox are having their own, which is like fine, I guess. I liked it they did it together last year, but I suppose now that they're getting to that point where the dam is starting to break and like potentially have got Activision coming up next year, they need to start thinking about having. They can't just meld all of this into one. They need to have like let them run things independently is probably the most like logistical way to do things. But just splatter the Xbox logo in front of everything. So that's like it.
I think that's the way they got to go. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I expect a massive blowout on Starfield in a couple of months, which is very, very exciting. And we'll just have to see as we get closer. I really hope that game lives up to expectations. And more than anything, and this ties into the next point of around the Unreal Engine demo, that Starfield doesn't just, and Bethesda, because Bethesda never really have focused it, they don't just focus on like kind of graphical fidelity. It's getting to the real point of like diminishing returns for me. Where like I see a nice game and I'm like, wow, like that. Like you see Horizon Forbidden West, that's like a crazy good looking game. Like the
Yeah,
detail in that game is like absolutely ridiculous. But then I look at something like Elden Ring and I'm like, this is still a very good looking game, but the art direction is something that carries it. So I'm like very flexible on like how
yeah,
games look nowadays, and I'm like, can we get something which is a bit more evolutionary, like on the systems front, like on the mechanics front,
hmm
I still think about like the Nemesis system, and I'm like, what happened to that? Like,
yeah. That was fucking great.
even
That
to a degree,
was
like
so good.
Titanfall back in the day, it's like, where's? I know it's just like big guns and small guns, but it's like it was still like quite different. You know what I mean? It's quite an evolution.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And just the mechanics of just everything is like a wall running surface as well and
Yeah,
stuff like that. That was so crazy. Like you hadn't seen that like before properly in an FPS ever. It was boots to the ground or like at that time like advanced warfare where you could just jump high. Like that was it.
yeah,
And Titanfall was just like everything is your floor. Like,
yeah. That's right. Yeah,
just do whatever you want.
yeah.
So
I guess it's just a shame that a lot of these like kind of novel mechanics and novel systems that we could get like consider like next gen, I like seem to be
mm,
reserved to indies, and like I understand it, it's because they're like less, they're more like risk averse. Um, but like I think about something like Lemnis Gate, for example, that was like a bit more of an indie like project, and like that game is like nobody speaks about it anymore. I suppose
yeah.
Splitgate's doing pretty well, but like I don't know if I'd consider that. Maybe like
Yeah, Splitgate's
yeah,
pretty unique.
yeah. I mean, I
Like
guess so. I don't know if it's what I'd consider like. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say because I think about like the Nemesis system. The Nemesis system was like super gimped on like previous gen consoles because it really did soak up a lot of processing power. So like to me
mm,
that was like that made use of the hardware in a way which wasn't just for pixels. And that's kind of what I want to see with Starfield. I want to see something that is like it's creative and not just in pixels. So
yeah,
we'll just have to see.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
So yeah, tying it into the Unreal Engine 5 demo, did you see anything about this? Did you see the demo at all? I mean, like it goes without saying, it looked wonderful. The Coalition worked closely with Epic on Unreal Engine 5. They're like such a proficient team. And if you ever go back and play Gears 5 with like the 4K upres that they did when the Series X came out, it looks ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like that game already looks like incredible. Like one of the best looking games out there. Like, Last of Us 2 is probably up there as like one of the best looking games. Like Gears 5 is not far off. And that was
yeah.
just
Gears
for an
Five looks great.
optimization. You know, Gears, whatever they're doing next is going to look phenomenal. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah,
cool proof of concept. I don't know if you did see it, but it's just pretty nice. Just a couple of minutes long, I think.
yeah. No, I did. Yeah, yeah. It looks amazing. Yeah. I mean, it kind of blew my mind to be honest. But I feel like we've seen like I don't know. I feel like when I watched like the um Hellblade 2 and like Forspoken and stuff like that, I felt like I saw similar levels of like graphic fidelity and stuff like that in terms of
Forspoken, I don't know.
I thought Forspoken's environments looked fantastic. I thought the character model and that woman's face didn't look great. But like spells and like the environment and like the sand and
Yeah,
desert and
the
stuff like
effects are
that,
cool.
I thought that looked insane. I thought that looked very, very good.
Yeah, it looked flashy.
Um
But Hellblade 2, yeah, I'm totally with you. I like Hellblade 2, which was on Unreal Engine 5. Like that
yeah.
was a demo on UE5. Yeah, it looks like just as good as this. So I suppose like maybe it's been like we're a bit spoiled, you know.
Yeah, for sure. But no, it just looks crazy, man. Even just like the close up on that guy's face, like right at the beginning, you can like see like all the pores on his skin and like the
Yeah,
individual hairs on the beard. It's just like, dude, it's crazy. Like it's so good. And yeah, it's exciting, man, because just everything is going to start getting built on engines like this moving forward. On this engine, so
yeah.
everything's going to look
Okay.
spectacular.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to we're going to move to our Halo segment, which has a few bits and bobs. So just as a couple of things here, Halo has made an appearance. Chief has made an appearance in Among Us. John Halo. Yeah, which was which is really weird because there's been a lot of like weird cross advertising in Halo at the moment. They recently made a cookbook.
Oh,
343 published a cookbook.
I remember Destiny did the same thing though.
Did they?
Yeah, Bungie. There's a Destiny cookbook. Yeah.
Well,
it's not new. It's been done before.
Okay, well there you go. Well, there's a lot of people very angry about it because they're like, oh, they're putting all their resources into cookbooks rather than the game.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
It's not the same people, is it?
Not how that works, dude.
No. Yeah. Well, like, oh, they're developing for Among Us now rather than for Halo Infinite. It's like, whatever. So yeah, that's been happening, and then obviously the TV show is ongoing. The third episode just came out, which was pretty good. A lot of people were really high on that episode. I thought it was like just fine. Still like reasonably enjoying it. It's like far from perfect, but it's like I'm having a good time with it. So I would still recommend it. Beyond that, for the actual game, that is Halo Infinite, we had over the last week a season 1 outcome report for I guess I want to say like technical issues, an update, and then we had a second outcome report that was for the live team and the updates, etc., etc. And then following that, shortly after, we had a 30-second teaser trailer for Season 2 Lone Wolves. So you obviously we've had a bit of a conversation over text off air about this, but like what are kind of your thoughts on how Season 2 is shaping up and some of these updates, etc., etc.?
Yeah, I think overall I was pretty lukewarm on it. I think it looks pretty cool. I think in terms of the new battle pass and the whole Lone Wolves armor sets, all that sort of stuff, I think there's some cool looking stuff in there, some cosmetics I'd like to chase. It'd be interesting to see whether that is all battle pass stuff or whether or not that will be event stuff sprinkled throughout the season as well.
So they have already said that all the stuff in the trailer is battle pass.
Oh, okay. Well then, great. Yeah, because some of that stuff did look pretty damn cool. And then on top of that, obviously we're looking at new events throughout the season then, which I guess will bring new armor cores because Tenrai will be finished by the time this new season starts. All that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it's just like we'll be seeing some new fresh armor cores and events come through in Season 2 on top of that trailer. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it from a cosmetic standpoint.
Well, just before you get into your next bit, I just wanted to add that I don't know if you saw that they had the like elite skull shoulder pads. In, like some of the there was a skull of an elite as a shoulder pad as a cosmetic, and people were kind of like losing their minds over that.
Oh, really?
And one of the devs chimed in and was like, if you like that, like you're gonna love like the rest of the cosmetics. Because apparently the theme of it is around like types of I don't know if it's Spartans, but like soldiers, Marines, ODST, I don't know, they're called headhunters, and they're like rogue, like small teams that go out and like hunt elite squads and stuff, which is like I didn't know that was a thing in the universe, but that's like the theme. So they like wear
cool.
like bits and bobs of the
their
stuff,
kills.
So. That's right. Yeah,
that's pretty fucking cool.
And you see it in the CGI trailer at the beginning, like they drop out of in like the first 5 seconds there's like CGI of the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And you see like Spartans, again, headhunters presumably, coming out of a Phantom because they've like hijacked it. And like they've so that's like, so I don't know what story elements are coming into this. Like presumably there's no like actual like I think it's probably just an opening cutscene like how we had at the beginning of Season 1, where they were like in the city and they helped that lady up and she ended up being the lieutenant in the academy.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, that was already cool. That was a cool little chime in. Yeah. I just hope they bring back playable elites. That's what I want to be. I want to be an elite in multiplayer again. Oh, it's the best. I remember when we went back to MCC and I was the only elite in the whole lobby. We were playing custom games. I was just like hunched over running. I was like the only elite. They're the best, man.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, no, yeah. all really cool cosmetically. Some pretty cool changes in there. I was expecting a little bit more uh, in terms of like I guess like weapon balancing and changing, and maybe even like a new weapon added too. Right, I was kind of hoping for something like that, like a new rack weapon. But hey ho, it's not too bad. The radar change is nice. I know you're kind of not in an R in, but you're kind of like you were pretty hyped about it, and I think you were just like wondering why there's not too much hype surrounding it.
Yeah, I just don't know
But
why nobody's talking about it. I can't find anybody talking about it. I don't know if I'm being an idiot and I'm missing something, but
I feel like
they've like
it's just because it's a change they promised for quite a while, and the community's very much been aware of it, and it's taken so long to actually happen. I think
but
that
I don't know, but because it was buried in the outcomes report because they had like the TLDRs and then they had like pages and pages of like changes, community requests, what they're working on, what they agree
yeah,
with, what they don't agree, and it was one of those changes instead of like a big one. And I think we have like a friend or two who are like quite strongly feel that the radar needs some adjustments, but like the wider community doesn't like isn't like it's a bit mixed on whether they feel like the
mm,
radar should be changed. But like this is like seems like a big change, like because what is it like the radar's like 18 meters, so like your actual circle, but the
mm,
edge detection, which is what they're turning on, goes up to 40 meters if you're sprinting or shooting. So if you're walking, it won't turn on, but if you're sprinting, it will show you like a segment. Like Destiny does it, doesn't
yeah,
it? It will show you
yeah,
like a segment of where that. So if someone is just bolting it towards you, you're going to see it coming. You know,
yeah,
and that
yeah.
seems like a big change. And I'm just like, why
It's
is
a
no one talking
massive.
about this?
It's a massive change that's going to change how the game plays significantly. Like it's
Right. So
crazy.
I'm just
It'd be quite
confused.
interesting to see how that works in BTB though. Is your radar just always going to be red?
It's even bigger in BTB. It's now 24 like because they changed that a while back. Like your circle is 24, but it goes up to like 45 or 50 or something. So
I just feel
like
like it's
yeah,
always going to be lighting up because there's always people
right.
sprinting everywhere in BTB all the time. Like,
Right, yeah. So you won't be able to like pinpoint where people are, but you'll be able to get an idea if someone is just trying to bolt
yeah,
at you, which I think is like, by the way, a perfect solution to
yeah,
like
absolutely,
not be campy, to not be like watching it, like radar whoring, but to
yeah.
know when someone is just darting at you because of the increased mobility and the speed and everything. Um,
Exactly. And with the
but
lack of it, like audio, footsteps and stuff like that compared to other FPS as well, it's a nice way to do it.
I will say that I think they've done some changes recently because whenever I boot it up now, I can hear people pretty clearly. I don't have a problem with footsteps anymore. I can like pinpoint people quite clearly now.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
know.
you think they just stealth changed that, do you think?
No, I think they have done some work on it in the last few patches. I remember seeing some stuff over it, but for a while now, I would say like for like the last 2 months, I've been able to hear. At launch, I was like a bit spotty on it, but like now, I don't
Hmm.
have that problem at all. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played Halo for ages, so I
yeah,
wouldn't know. But yeah, I mean that radar change is very, very big, and that's going to change the core fundamental gameplay for like quite substantially
yeah, I
across
think so.
arena and BTB. Um, yeah, for sure. So in that regard, that's a pretty nice change. I was expecting a little bit more in terms of sandbox weapons, stuff like that. Already been through that,
In terms of like raw
and
content, yeah,
I was just about to say, like, I kind of was expecting more, like one arena map and one BTB map. Kind of, kind of pathetic.
yeah,
Like,
it's
this, it's
fine, I
it's
guess.
it's pretty bad. Like, what? So, like, 6 months, and then by the time season two ends, because we're only getting one map in season two, we're going to be 8 months into this game, and we're going to have what, 6 arena maps? How many are there at the moment? It's five, isn't
Look, it
there?
launched with 7.
Okay, so we're going to have 8 arena maps, eight months into a game's life cycle.
What do you mean we'll
Um,
only be getting one? Oh, you just mean for the launch of season 2? I'm with you.
Yeah, but they're not going to add another map throughout the course of season two. We'll get additional maps at the start of season
Probably not.
three, probably. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
probably.
we're thinking 8 months by the end of season two. We got 8 maps and 3 BTB maps. Feel like that's on the low side.
It is
I
on the
feel
low
like that's
side.
it's pretty low for a game to be out for 8 months.
Yeah,
So I was expecting maybe a bit more in terms of that, but
yeah,
overall hype scale, I'm at about like a 7.
yeah. Is it enough to like once the battle pass is there and you see the
Oh yeah, I'm coming back.
because
Yeah,
there's like
yeah,
other
it's
game
still
modes as well because like they've said that they're like there's a like last Spartan standing, I think is one
yeah.
which I think is like a I think it's like a free for all mode, so it's less of a team one with like a closing circle and like limited lives. But I also think there's another one as well that I can't remember that they're adding for the whole season.
They're making
That
Elim part of the standard as well, aren't they now? Elimination.
yeah,
Did
they've
I
said
hear
that
that?
they're like changing their approach to time limited like game modes now. They're just gonna like inject stuff in for the most part, like um to expand the playlist roster, but there will still be some that they rotate in and out, which makes sense. Stuff like Shotty Snipers doesn't need a dedicated playlist, I don't think. Like stuff like Griffball, I don't think needs a dedicated playlist,
No.
but I'm sure other people would disagree with me, but I don't feel those are core playlists, whereas something like
No.
Elimination or King of the Hill should be. Um,
Hmm.
so there is the mixing up is like there will be more playlists, there will be more maps, there will be a little bit of balancing, but I'm totally with you. It is on the low end, but it is kind of what I expected. Unfortunately, it seems that technical debt, and this is what recently was said by Joseph Staten in an interview, um, that they accumulated from the year delay has really slowed them down in like pushing these updates out quicker. And like, we've spoken about this before, and we said that like it really seems that they're just trying to get all their ducks in a row before they
Yeah.
start getting the stuff out. Like they're still working on like desync here and there, and I've heard that it's like a lot better nowadays. I never thought it was like a massive issue, but some people feel like it's like breaks the game for them, which I think is a bit ridiculous.
No.
But
Yeah.
it still feels
But
lovely to play. But every now and then you'll hit a melee and be like, like it happens like 1 in 20 times. Unless you're in like a bad lobby, which shouldn't. Anyway, yeah. So that stuff has improved now. But I'm totally with you in terms of raw content. It would have been nice to see a bit more, like you said, like a new weapon, a new piece of equipment would have really made this like a bit more exciting.
for
That would have
sure.
really spiced up because it's like, yeah, we've got 2 more maps, but like if they were just chucked in the rotation, I'm going
You're
to
not
play
going to
them.
see him that
Yeah, I'm
often
going to play them
anyway.
like 15% of the time. But having said that, having a look at the screenshots we've seen with the maps, they look lovely. I mean, I said before, I think that all the maps in Infinite are actually pretty good for the most part. I don't think there's a bad
Oh
map
yeah.
in there. I think they're good upwards. Some are less good than others. And they aesthetically look wonderful, and these look really good as well. The BTB map actually has like a giant like laser that goes through it.
Yeah.
That's like presumably like a death laser, which I think is great because I think they need some more like interactions in sort of their maps, because like the old school Halo maps had like man cannons and like teleporters,
Hmm.
and I think that just it like adds a nice extra bit of like dynamism to the gameplay. So I'm glad to see them sort of starting to toy with that. But yeah, I suppose, and you said on the balancing side, the big change here is that, and this caused a bit of controversy, is that the Mangler's been nerfed inadvertently because they've
Yeah.
nerfed melee damage by 10% across the board. So it shouldn't change anything like in terms of getting a lethal, other than the Mangler being a 2-hit kill. But I just thought that was a bit peculiar, but we'll have to see how it plays, because I think there is also sometimes where people just do sprint up to you and can get away with double melees when I don't feel like they should be able to.
Yeah.
Having said that, it's always going to be a double melee, so or like a single melee depending on how much your health that. So yeah, I don't know, but that's probably a good thing, because as much as I love the Mangler, I would like if it was on a map, I never picked anything else up.
Yeah.
Like,
it was too good. Yeah.
yeah.
It was too good.
And the Ravager's primary fire is getting a buff as well. Charge fire isn't getting touched, but so bit of a buff for the Ravager as well, which is nice. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you in terms of like the sandbox changes. I was hoping for a bit more. In terms of the raw content, I was hoping for a bit more, but cosmetics look good. I'm sure the battle pass is going to be great. Hopefully the game modes and maps do breathe a bit of life in, and maybe there's some other stuff they have up their sleeve. Who knows? There's lots of other changes and optimizations, like good stuff in terms of the store, how they're approaching like double XP's challenges are getting like a big they've removed lots of bad ones like killjoys and stuff like that, and then you start throwing
Yeah.
events into the mixes as well. I think you're looking at a good season 2, but maybe not the octane adrenaline jab in the head that it maybe needed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely coming back. It's enough to pull me back. For the whole season, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm definitely coming back. like it's good.
Yeah,
Like I said, it's a solid 7. So
and
plus I
that's
kind of
been
miss Halo.
yeah, and that's been the sentiment that I have like largely heard. Most people are like, this is enough to bring me back, but I don't know how long I'll stay.
Mm.
But yeah, but man, it's crazy. I just booted up I was just like waiting like between games with some of my friends the other day, and I just booted up into a bot match or whatever, and I was like, man, this feels so. I love how like this is just sorry, a bit of a tangent, but like how we spoke about before that when you shoot people, like parts of their body like glows up, and then they're like
Yeah,
shield goes
I
from pop. I
love
was like,
I
it just
love
feels
that.
so good.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
anyway. Chopper and Banshee also got a buff as well. Warthog and Razorback should be more resistant to flipping and bouncing. There's lots of little things like that are in these blogs that weren't in the TLDR. So like if you haven't already, and you're like interested to see some of these changes, I would recommend having a look. But basically, the way I'm thinking of this season is like a mild to mild probably content update, but lots of like bolt tightening, lots of bolt
yeah,
tightening. From like progression, and they said that they're like a long-term progression system is now currently deep in development. So I don't know when we're looking at that, maybe season 3, but like actually leveling up, which is great because we did have that feeling at the end of the battle pass. It's like where's my XP going? Like where's that going?
yeah,
Into the abyss.
absolutely.
And sorry, just a few other things that I have made a note here that are being changed is that we spoke about this before, but you'll be able to earn 1,000 credits in the season 2 battle pass,
Good change.
which is a great change. Which I should note is like, and by the way, I still saw people complaining about this, but it's double crazy. But it's just a reminder, and I tweeted about this as well. You don't have to purchase. Your battle passes don't expire. If you buy one, you could feasibly get them all forever. And
Yeah,
like if you don't finish one, like they don't expire, like it's crazy value. Weekly, they've put a big focus on upping the quality of the weekly challenges because you know how we had like loads of weeks where it was like an emblem reused like 7 times or like a background. They said that, and they've said that they're straight up removing backdrops and emblems from weekly
Good.
ultimates.
Good.
Will have higher value cosmetics such as visors, coatings, stances, and no longer have emblems or backdrops throughout the course of the season. So yeah, this is what I mean. Lots of bolt tightening,
Good
lots of
change.
little things that maybe drag the experience down a little bit is getting kind of addressed. So it's maybe just not as like sexy, that's all.
Yeah, 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 for sure. But no, those are nice changes. Those are nice changes for sure.
Yeah. So we will have to wait and see how it all pans out. I'm feeling optimistic. I'm glad to hear that you're wanting to come back because I kind of want to play some Halo with you for a bit. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully there is some more stuff up their sleeve. Loads of like the leak Twitter accounts and channels like have so much like stuff that they've shown. So there must be so much like in the pipe, but they just haven't gotten to the stage where they're able to spit it out consistently yet. And also it's worth adding that they haven't yet confirmed that this season is 3 months long. The last official confirmation that we got was that it would be, but they haven't like clarified it this time.
I hope it's not another 6-month season.
And I'm a bit worried. And there are ways around that. They could do a mid-season update, maybe drop something in, like maybe that's where a new weapon comes in, maybe that's where maybe another map comes in, or I don't know.
Multi-team.
But if they really have to push it up to 6 months again, because they've said they don't want to, they said they want the seasons to be 3 months. But if they really need to, they need to think about. There needs to be more stuff. So whatever. That's where we're at with Halo. Any final closing thoughts there before we finish off for today?
I wish they'd add multi-team.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Love that multi.
I think multi-team.
Doubles.
I think about multi-team or doubles or something like that would genuinely have me picking it up as my main shooter again.
Yeah, I love those modes, and there is something to say because I think I often downplay some of the wackiness of Halo's modes, maybe just because I haven't played it in a while. But you're right; like I think some of those modes would make me like play it more. Like that would be more enjoyable than playing with a rando or whatever, Especially on some of these maps, I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Anything else to add on sort of season 2 of Halo Infinite coming out May 3rd, just under a month? 3 weeks.
No. No, not really. I think that's that's coming out actually sooner than I expected. Um, but no, nothing more to add. I'm quite looking forward to it, and
Awesome.
I'll see you in Halo.
Yeah, we'll see you later. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll catch you next week for the big 5-0, episode 15. Obviously, it's Easter.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know. It's Easter as well, so hope your week is good up till then. But other than that, I've been Deck, that's been Tim, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.